I'm so excited about this set that I got. I can't believe Facebook has been so nice to me, but I was able to get this whole set for free. And someone just needed it gone right away. So I ran over and got it. I'm so happy about it. It's solid wood. I would say it's in pretty good condition, just dated. It's got a few little scratches and some dents and damage to the top, but easy stuff to fix. That looks like a burn or something. A few areas, but overall, really good condition. Wood drawers, they are dovetailed. This is going to be a great transformation. Be sure to follow along.
I'm Shireen with Olive Street Designs, and I'm showing the process of furniture refinishing so you can learn too. Be sure to subscribe and follow for more. First task, as always, is getting off all of this hardware. This dresser has a ton of hardware, and I'm struggling with these because these screws that look like they should be Phillips, they're so flat, the Phillips just spins in it. So I had to do most of it with a flathead screwdriver. And look at how much hardware there is. I mean, really, so much. And then there was a few of these as well. They are not actual locks or room for keys. They're just decorative. But look how dirty they are underneath. Those have been on there a long time. So time to get these things cleaned up now that all the hardware's off of there. I'm using Crud Cutter. I'm generously spraying everything and then taking a scrub brush and scrubbing it down and then wiping it down with a wet rag. It was filthy. But look how much better they look already, just being cleaned and taking the hardware off. Okay, I get a lot of questions about how do I come up with my designs? How do I choose my hardware? And this is the process. I bring out boxes. I have lots of boxes of hardware laying around, and I'm like, knobs, pulls. I bring out more hardware. One pull, two pulls, two knobs. I mean, it just goes like this on and on, but I finally figured it out. So time to take all the drawers out. I number them as they go because I've got to fill in all of these hardware holes. So I'm using some Bondo. I get my Bondo out. I put a little cream hardener on there, mix it together really well, and then start pushing it into the hardware holes. And I'm going to have to mix 3 and 4 batches of this because there's a lot of hardware holes. Unfortunately, they're all in the wrong spot of what I'm going to be putting on here, so none of them work. I have to fill them all in. Straighten up this base because it's kind of, I mean, it's not bad, but it does have these little swirls on there, and it's just not the design that I'm going for. So I always put tape down so I can see where I want to saw or where I want to cut. And I'm just taking my jigsaw. I was making a relief cut there, and then off I go. And then be nice and straight. Of course, I have to do the nightstands as well, so everything matches. I also did the sides. I just didn't show every bit of it. And sanding it. And then I sand it down, make sure it's all straight, and then take the tape off. And now I'm going to keep on sanding because this is part of my design. I'm going to strip this base. So I do as much sanding as I can do with my surf prep. I'm going to go in with my carbide scraper and then use the sander some more and then the carbide scraper. And now I'm going to go in with a detail carbide scraper, and I'm choosing whichever little tip I think is going to get into this crevice the best. So again, I'm going to scrape some, and then I'm going to sand some, and then I'm going to scrape some, and sand again, and do as much as I can until I have to finish the rest by hand. And I am using my rubber contour block for this, and I have lots of hand sanding to do, just kind of at the end of everything to get that last little bit in the crevices. Same process on the nightstands. And now the Bondo has set, so it's time to get that all sanded smooth. Lots of drawers. I've got one broken area. This sits under a drawer. It's cracked, and I've got these cool little blunt needles so that I can inject glue into this area. And I want to make sure I fill it completely so when it's smashed together, there's enough in there that it's actually going to come out. That way you make sure that it's got enough glue. And then at an angle, I'm putting in some brad nails to just really hold that to the side because it was loose. Once they get all secure and I trust that it's solid, which it is, I go ahead and just clamp that area so it will completely dry. The bases are done. Time to stain. I'm going to mix a couple of stains. This is dark oak, whole wheat. And I decided to add a little more gray, which is castle stone. Mix it all up because I just want something different. I wanted a little kind of aged looking. I love that color. And I, just play around with color. I love just putting things together and see what colors I can come up with. I'm using a little sponge. I was showing you this is like a sponge daddy because it's, I like the texture of the sponge. I just think it works really well for stain. So I'm going to apply it everywhere, and then I'm taking a paper towel or shop towel and wiping off the excess. Same thing for the dresser. So I did both nightstands and the base on the dresser. Love the color. All right, well, while that's drying, time to go ahead and do the hardware. So I measured the drawer and I'm setting up my hardware jig, and now I'm going to drill holes. Lots and lots of holes. Using my little vacuum just to clean up all the sawdust. And time for a good cleaning. So everything's going to get now dusted completely, and then I'm going to go in with these adjustable screws that a lot of people just throw away, but I use them as temporary handles because I'm going to need to pull these drawers out while I have it in the spray tent. I've tinted my top coat because now the base is completely dry. I'm going to put in several layers of tinted top coat just to give it a little more depth. Once that's dry, this is now the next day. Once that's dry, I'm going to tape everything off, set up my spray tent, and into the tent we go. I can do all the pieces at one time in my large tent. And I'm applying the primer. This is Stix primer. It is tinted gray. It looks white here, but it is actually gray. I feel like I get better coverage over the mix of colors, from the wood and the sanded areas with a tinted primer. And I'm going in between coats. Now, actually, this is after the primer coat. I'm sanding it down. I have a pad, an interface pad, which is a super fine one on my surf prep, just smoothing everything out. And I had some bleed through on the edges of all the drawers, so I'm going in with oil-based cover stain primer just to seal all of those edges in. Once that dried, now it's time for my paint. So this is Bold Black by Farmhouse Evolution. Of course, I'm spraying it with my Wagner sprayer. In between coats, take out all the drawers. I need to do the edges. These drawers they have the edge, kind of the flange of the drawer that sits on the front of this dresser, so the sprayer does not reach it. So I paint that by hand, then go in with my second coat of paint. And you can see I'm using my temporary handles, and now that that's wet, I'm just pulling that out to dry. Once everything dries, time for some top coat. And you just can't get top coat any other way than spraying. I mean, this is that buttery smooth finish. Now you can see everything's all dry, and time to pull some tape. The favorite part, look at those two colors together. Oh, my favorite. Time to line the drawers. I have to make sure these drawers are super clean, and I have found that the paintbrush is the best way. So measure everything, measure twice, cut once. So I measure everything, and then I do, just line everything out, cut this to size, and then I dry fit it in my drawer, make sure it fits perfectly, take the backing off, go ahead and place it into the drawer, and then I'm going to use my hands first to really smooth everything down and get out the air bubbles before taking a plastic putty knife and really getting it into the edges there. Perfect. All right, time to install some hardware. Again, lots of drawers means lots of new hardware. And we'll see what hardware I chose. It was a decision, but I chose to go all knobs. So let's take a look back at where we started. And here's where we are. I hope you like this look. It's becoming a very popular, very classic, sleek black with the stained base, and that gold hardware just pops. The coordinating drawer liners, and then of course the nightstands that go right along with it. It's really made this a cohesive set. So I hope you like how it turned out, and if you like this kind of content, be sure to hit the subscribe button to follow for more.